What happens when clever laziness meets unintended consequences? Will a shortcut truly lighten the load or end up drowning your schemes? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll tell you the story of the lazy horse. In a bustling riverside village lived a salt trader named Tom. Every morning he would visit the salt pan at dawn's first light, filling heavy sacks to trade in distant markets. Beside him stood his steadfast, albeit overly lazy horse, a creature of beauty and strength, yet known for trying to avoid doing its share of work. Despite its power, the horse preferred rest over effort. Tom, ever kind and patient, simply urged the horse on, hopeful that it would learn to work properly. Little did he know, the horse was devising its own plans. On a crisp morning, Tom loaded 2 bugling sacks of salt onto the horse and set out. As they neared a narrow wooden bridge spanning the river, the horse stumbled mid-crossing and plunged into the water. Tom, startled but unhurt, hurried to help. As the horse emerged, dripping and relieved, Tom noticed the sacks twice. And each time, to his confusion, the salt was mysteriously lighter by nearly half a kilogram. He chalked it up to a miscalculation. After all, scales aren't always consistent, so they continued their journey home. But the strange lightning happened again and again. Every day for 2 weeks, Tom weighed the salt twice at each market, and every time, nearly half a kilogram had vanished. He began to sense a pattern. One morning, he pretended to gather firewood and stashed himself under a bush as the horse and sacks passed. Concealed, Tom watched in dismay as the horse neared the bridge, deliberately lost its footing and stepped into the river. As it waded out, it shook its drenched coat and trotted on with what appeared to be much lighter sacks. He stepped out, arms akimbo, and called, "Lazy horse, so that's your trick!" Tom shook his head, half amused but resolute. The next morning, he replaced the salt with sacks filled with soft cotton and quietly awaited the horse. Ever routine, the horse carried the cotton to the bridge, stumbled in, and plunged into the water. Only this time, rather than feeling relief, it felt dread. The cotton swelled to several times its original size, weighing so heavily that it began to drag the horse under. Panicked, the horse brayed, "Help! Help! I'm drowning!" Tom rushed forward to the bridge, spotted the panicked horse struggling, and tied a rope around its neck. A few strong pulls later, the horse emerged with a soaked, burdened frame. Tom pulled the sacks from its bag and burst into laughter. "Now, lazy horse, you've learned your lesson," he declared with relief in his voice. Shivering and embarrassed, the horse shook itself dry. It lowered its head, no longer seeking shortcuts. Yet Tom was not entirely convinced. The next day, he loaded cotton sacks again. The horse, perhaps wary but rooted in old habits, carried them along their usual path and once more slipped onto the bridge, intentionally seeking an easier load. Tom followed it and once again rescued it. The greedy cotton-laden sacks had grown ever heavier, but the horse's stubbornness hasn't ceased. Tom found the horse hiding behind a rock, ashamed. He came close, gently but firmly, chastising. "No more tricks. Work hard or we both lose." From that day forward, Tom changed back to salt trading. He trained the horse, insisted proper gait, regular rest periods, and rewarded honest work with gentle pats and water by the river. The horse, chastened and wiser, no longer sought shortcuts. One day, Tom hitched the loaded salt sacks again and walked beside his reformed companion. As they passed the bridge, the horse, secure in its purpose, trotted steadily across, without hesitation, without another plunge. Tom smiled. "Good horse," he said, slipping his hand along its mane. So the moral of the story is that through this tale, a classic of resourcefulness and humility we learn, which is that laziness disguised as cleverness backfires. The horse gained momentary ease but courted disaster. Persistent wisdom beats repeated deception. Tom never resorted to cruelty. Instead, he used the horse's trick against it to teach a meaningful lesson. True effort, once taught, becomes character. The horse didn't revert to its old ways. It renewed diligence, became permanent. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And for more stories like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one with another twist, another tale, and another truth. Bye bye, see you very soon.